We're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to VN Happy Hour. I'm VN Times editor Rachel Buzzell.
And I'm Vet Times editor James Westgate, and yes, we are back and delighted to be so. It's great to see you all here, and what an hour we've got planned. First of all, a few thank yous, mainly to our sponsors, Medivet. Medivet are a community of passionate veterinary professionals committed to providing truly exceptional care. They're set on building something extraordinary, creating the most forward-thinking and innovative place in the veterinary industry. They're always looking for people who aspire to stand out in their field, and it's this vision and enthusiasm that forms the foundation of how Medivet work. Their mission to deliver progressive, around-the-clock care means their employees have the very best equipment and treatment options available. So thanks, Medivet, for your sponsorship tonight.
Yes, thank you so much, Medivet. Tonight we'll be discussing the very important topic of protecting the vet nurse title. Now, the BVNA, with the support of the BVA and RCVS, launched its Protect the Title surveys in September 2022. They were open to both vet professionals and the public and closed on the 31st of December. I can't get the word out. Preliminary.
It's been a long day, Rachel.
It has.
Give it another go.
But I can't do it. That's it now. We've had the first lot of results in, and we'll take a closer look at those, as well as the importance of driving this change and what it can mean for you as vet nurses.
It's certainly a meaty topic, and we've received many insightful questions from you all, and I know our panel guests are up to the task of answering them. So with that, let's meet the panel. In our main interview hot seat, we are joined by BVNA President Charlotte Pace. Thanks for coming tonight, Charlotte.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, welcome, Charlotte. And Charlotte will also be taking part in our panel discussion with Linnaeus Chief Nursing Officer Andrea Jeffery and RCVS Chairperson Matt Rendle.
What a lineup! And obviously, Andrea was our one of our very first guests on the very first happy hour we ever did, and Matt's obviously been on as well. So thank you both for coming back. We're really looking forward to speaking to you later. It's an amazing lineup, and I'm just as excited about welcoming back our incomparable quizmaster, Mr. Jack Pye, for a veterinary quiz sure to get the cogs whirring. Jot down your answers and get them emailed to happyhour@vbd.co.uk by 8:30 sharp for your chance to win a £50 voucher.
Yep, and there's another £50 voucher up for grabs in our live picture challenge. So we simply want you to show us what possession you would protect at all costs. It could be a beloved pet, maybe you have a vintage car, or even a photo album full of memories. Whatever it is, we want to see it. And you send that picture to the same email address, happyhour@vbd.co.uk, and we'll be picking a winner before we close the event this evening.
And something we've done from the very start was our Pay It Forward, and we'll be naming the winner of this month's Pay It Forward prize and announcing the two winners of the enormously popular Top Tips competition.
Yep, and so before we get started, please don't forget that happy hour, it's all about you guys. So get chatting in the chat box there, chat with each other, let us know your thoughts and any questions. If you're feeling shy, please feel free to direct message myself, Ebony, Remy or James, and we can pop a question in the box on your behalf, or we can answer it and do our best to help you out there.
And obviously get on social media and share hashtag VN Happy Hour.
Shall we get the power hour on the road?
I think we should. First of all, welcome, Charlotte. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Obviously, we're here to discuss the Protect the Title campaign, and you know, it's going to be headline news for us. It's been a fantastic survey. I think you had, was it 12,000 respondents, 8,000 veterinary professionals, 4,000 members of the public. I mean, it must be really heartening to get that sort of feedback from the consultation.
Yes, it was. And you know, the fact that we extended it was because we could see how popular it was being, and so we thought we'd do one sort of further push to really get to see what we could get. But yeah, I think all of us at BVNA have been really pleased with the amount of respondents that we had.
Yeah, I mean, hugely important subject reflected by the massive amount of response you've had. So we've had a bunch of questions sent in by our delegates. We've got probably 20 minutes for this, so we'll get cracking with our first question. But why is it so important that the title of veterinary nurse becomes legally protected?
Probably most of the people on this happy hour would know the answer to that, I think. But you know, I think it really boils down, for me personally, it boils down to animal welfare, to making sure that we're doing the right thing by our patients, the quality of nursing care that we give, and also from a One Health perspective as well, so that again we're sharing sort of best practice with all nurses, so we're doing the right things there as well. And then obviously, you know, what part of that, which becomes part of a registered veterinary nurse, the accountability that goes with things like Schedule 3s, monitoring anaesthesia, prescribing, you know, giving medications, and doing the diagnostic tests that we do.
It's been tried before. This isn't the first time. It's a massive challenge. So next question, what are the biggest challenges the profession faces in trying to protect the title of veterinary nurse?
Sure. So I mean, the biggest challenge really is to make this count. And, you know, where we are at this precise moment, we've got a lot of data. You know, we've got a lot of data there. We've got 12,000 respondents, and there was a lot of free text in there. So for us, we need to go through all that free text to work out exactly what people are thinking and feeling, because obviously that's where they could communicate with us. And so, you know, then when we've collated that, obviously, and we've got a good idea, then we're taking that forward to DEFRA. And obviously then from DEFRA, it then goes to Parliament time. And, you know, that obviously can be quite difficult, because there are a few other things I think that the government are quite preoccupied with at the moment.
I guess that's the problem though, isn't it? There's always something the government's preoccupied with. It is a real challenge, isn't it, to get that parliamentary time and get this massively important issue discussed. And I guess it's for the whole veterinary nursing community to shout loud enough so they hear, because this is really, really important. Leads nicely into the next question, which is, why hasn't this happened, and why hasn't title protection come in before now?
So again, probably most people will know, but we did try this in 2015. And you know, if you think about the timeline, like I said, with the fact that we're waiting on Parliament time and all of that from now on, that, you know, that these things, unfortunately, because we are involving the government of the day, none of this is quick. And so when this happened in when we tried before in 2015, and we got, I think it was about 36,000 signatures, and that's not enough, because we did a petition to government to get it raised in Parliament. And so that 36,000 was way short, unfortunately, of the 100,000 that you need to force it into parliamentary time. So, you know, so this is why it's taken a while to kind of regroup and work out how we can do this. And so we've been taking advice from people like the British Association of Dental Nurses as to how they managed to get their title protected as dental nurses. And it took them, I think it was about 15 or 16 years it took for them to do that. So, you know, I think where it's happened before with 36,000, I mean, that is a lot of interest there, and we really want to again sort of reignite that and use that for the project that we have today. But yeah, we you know, in veterinary medicine, we learn from what hasn't worked, and those things that don't work are often the things that teach us the most. So hopefully this time, you know, with a clear strategy, that we will get there. But none of this process, unfortunately, is quick, as the dental nurses showed us. It took them 15 years. You know, if you look back on our recent history, we only became registered vet nurses in 2007. You know, it took quite a while for that to happen as well. So, you know, I really do hope that it will happen this time.
As do we all. But and the next question again leads in, but how can this protect the title campaign differ from other campaigns? I guess, is it about engendering more support? Just, you know, because it seems like you've already got quite a bit of engagement from the profession. Yeah.
And so I think this title, this campaign is different because we're going with the advice that DEFRA have given us. So we've already negotiated. So Alex Taylor, who's our senior vice president now, so she was in discussions with DEFRA last year with BVNA to work out how exactly we go about this. And so they said, you need to collate the evidence. So this is exactly what we're doing. So this survey that we've just got out is the first part of the evidence, you know, and veterinary medicine is all about the evidence base. So we've gone about it by getting the evidence, and so then this can then become part of legislative reform, which we all know that veterinary medicine and the Veterinary Surgeons Act is way overdue. But this is an important and vital step for us to go down that path.
Mm-hmm. And the BVA recently consulted both the professions and the public on this issue, as we discussed at the head of this interview. But well, what were some of the most significant findings from that process? Some of which we will discuss in the next question, but I know there's a wealth of, as you say, there were a lot of written answers as well. There's a lot of material still to go to, and I don't want to put you on the spot because I know this is still fairly preliminary findings. But, you know, at this stage, bearing in mind it only hit we only saw sight of a little bit of it on Monday, you know, what were the most significant things?
Well, again, like you say, this has only just sort of come about, so this is more my opinion than sort of a BVNA stance. But I think for me, the things that were significant for me, firstly, was the number of respondents. 12,000 for anything veterinary related, I think is really awesome. Also, for me, it showed that there was a very strong call for protecting the title. That I think the figures were for getting the number of people, the percentage that said that the veterinary nurse title should be protected, this is in the veterinary one, is 98%. So, you know, that's a lot of people saying that should be, that's where we are. I think the second thing for me as well is that 48% of people know somebody in practice that are calling themselves veterinary nurses but are not registered veterinary nurses. And I think, you know, that is something that is concerning. And obviously it's something that we need to investigate further. But that was very sort of a big standout for me. Also, I think another thing that came out was that this is what the veterinary nursing profession wants. You know, we're not being told by anybody else, any other part of the veterinary industry, what we want as nurses. This is veterinary nurses saying that this is what they want, you know, and they've said like 94% see that it would add value to their role. And obviously as well, again, another one of the stats was really high on retention. So, you know, that this would be something, I think 73% said that it could have an impact on retention.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a massive issue for so many different reasons, is it? I mean, it's quite startling. But I mean, were you shocked to discover that 48% of vet nurses worked or had worked with someone who was known as a vet nurse without being registered? And maybe after you finish answering this, maybe Andrea or Matt can come in, because obviously there are caveats in the code of conduct that prevent that from happening, but it is, and it's quite a widespread problem, it seems.
I think, yes, I think I was shocked. I think probably more surprised. At my age, I don't get shocked very often. It's probably not good for me at my age either to get shocked, but certainly surprised. And I guess, you know, that you know, some of this is with the data. So, you know, that could be that there's one person in a practice and there are 20 people there and 20 people fill out the survey.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's 20 respondents. So it could skew it. You know, we haven't drilled down to that much detail yet without the free text to actually support that up. So, but yes, I mean, it is surprising. Absolutely. It really is surprising that there are, you know, nearly half people know that. So yeah, I'd like to hear what the rest of the panel say on that.
Yeah, anything on that, Andrea or Matt?
I'll let Matt go first and then I'll follow up if there's anything else.
Yeah, I think firstly, I think Charlotte has highlighted that it's a bit of a kind of clickbait, that number, and I think we need to drill down on exactly what it means. I think I can honestly say I've worked in practices for 30 odd years and I've never knowingly worked with somebody that was being called a veterinary nurse that wasn't a veterinary nurse. So I think we just need to find out exactly what's going on. And I think some of the terminology we're using, I keep saying it, but there's no such thing as an unqualified veterinary nurse. You're just a layperson. So and I think it's really clear that we reserve and start getting that into our conversations as well. And the word of the question does say to refer to by others as well. So you don't know what sort of context that was in. But do you want me to talk about the code of conduct now, or?
Well, I mean, if Andrew was going to come in on that, maybe.
Yeah, it's up to you, Andrea.
Thanks, Matt. I mean, I'll be saying exactly what Matt was going to say, is that we've had our code of conduct now for, I can't think how many years, and it moved from being a guide and it's now a code. And within the veterinary code and the nursing code, it clearly says that we shouldn't knowingly call somebody a veterinary nurse that isn't a veterinary nurse. And so I think I agree with Matt. I think the early stages on this survey, we need to understand the data. We need to actually understand what that means. The comment that it could be numerous people referring to one person, but actually, you know, we're talking about professionalism and increasing the professionalism of our profession. And one of the things that we need to do is be accountable ourselves into who we call what. And a veterinary nurse is somebody who is on the register, and it clearly says that in our code.
Excellent.
Can I just come back on that, James, as well, and just say that it's everybody's responsibility. There's 22,000 RVNs walking around in the UK now, and it's everybody's responsibility to report these people and have those awkward conversations. You can't hang this sort of thing on one person's door. It's all of us. So I would urge people that are in this situation to remind people, vets and nurses, of their code of conduct. And I'm happy to share these, James. We can put them up, the specific areas within it. But it is very clear, and it is our code, and we all sign up to it and agree that that's what we're going to do. So therefore, to follow through with that, we need to make sure that we are making inroads into preventing this from happening, and to highlight it and make sure that people are aware that it goes against our code of conduct.
Well, feel free to put it in the chat box. I think that'll be the first time we've ever had a section of the code of conduct of the VSA posted in there. But yeah, it's a very good point. And if people are doing it, they really shouldn't be doing it. And you know, it's going to take collective action to get it changed. But I know it's early days, Charlotte, with the survey and with the interpretations, and we need to be careful. But one of the questions we've had was, does the fact that there are a significant amount of people who may be being referred to as vet nurse without being registered, does that suggest there might be some resistance from certain sections of the profession to the idea of title protection?
Yeah, and I do think that that's a really good question, actually, because yeah, we can do these surveys, but again, what are the implications on the profession and on the industry? And, you know, I guess, you know, my suggestion would be that there might be some reticence from some parts of the veterinary industry, because, you know, well, there could be multiple reasons, you know, without knowing that ourselves, you know, there could be multiple reasons why people are calling themselves, you know, as Matt says, they're lay people, you know, and we know that retention and recruitment is one of those big issues. So I guess, yes, there could be, but then again, you know, if we are a profession that wants to move forward, we have to have these conversations, whether they're difficult. You know, that's what we do. We move forward, we improve, we become better. So I guess, you know, maybe there are these questions to have.
We're getting close to time, but we've still got a couple of questions left. But this one, I think, is almost answered by the fact that you had 4,000 members of the public respond to your survey. But do you think the public cares about this issue, and should more be done to highlight the importance of the role to the public? I mean, here, I guess you could never do too much to highlight the role of a veterinary nurse to the public. But the fact that 4,000 people responded suggests that an awful lot of the public value exactly what vet nurses do.
Yeah, and the short answer to that, if we're coming out of time, is yes and yes. You know, I mean, I really do think that, yes, you know, the public does care. You know, 98% of of the public who answered that said absolutely they do care about it. And you know, from a perspective of building awareness to clients, to the public, as to what we do, absolutely we should. And again, you know, the campaigns like BVNA's VNAM, for example, that celebrates how fantastic nurses are. And again, you know, but why should it be 1 month? You know, 12 months of the year I do the job, you know. So I think absolutely let's shout it loudly so that we do get client buy-in. And you know, and again, you know, some of the things like BVA are working on with like good workplace cultures, and also like, you know, the being kind and stopping the bullying and stuff like that, we can incorporate all of that into how we approach the public.
Here's a $1 billion question. Are you confident that the profession will be able to come together and get the support it needs to make it happen?
100%.
I think, yeah.
Because you know, Matt's here, we're chatting to Matt, so that's, you know, that's the regulatory body. We also, one of our partners are the BVA, so yes, absolutely, why wouldn't we, to improve retention, recruitment, to get better pay, to get all of these things for veterinary nurses, why wouldn't we?
Fantastic. And I would like to say VN Times will be doing everything to support this, and Vet Times as well. We think this is something we're going to really get hold of this year and push, give you guys all the support we need. Well, thank you very much for that, Charlotte. That was absolutely brilliant. Just before we move to our panel discussion, Rachel, a bit of a reminder on our challenge.
So it's just our live picture challenge tonight for that chance to win a £50 Amazon voucher. Show us a picture of the one thing you would protect at all costs. I can see the inbox filling up already, so please keep sending those pictures in. It's happyhour@vbd.co.uk.
And you'll be frantically running around behind the scenes, Rachel, won't you? Trying to pick a winner, and
yes, that's
making
right.
sure everyone gets their prize at the end of the show. So thanks for that, and obviously keep going with the chat. I can see that's buzzing along nicely. Anything any questions you want to ask, if you have the time, or anything, DM any of the panelists. I'm sure they will get back to you, maybe not tonight, but in due course with any answers to your questions. But now we move on to our panel, and I believe you're kicking us off, Rachel.
Yep, that's right. So the first question's for Andrea, and we have actually touched on it a little bit already in the main interview with Charlotte. But what can vet nurses do? Everyone here tonight, what can they do to support this campaign?
Well, I think we have touched on it, but I think, and Charlotte's just finished with it. It's that awareness raising, both within our veterinary team, but also to our clients and to the public. So being really clear about titles, being really clear, you know, BVNA ran a great poster a few years ago about who was who in a veterinary practice, and I think something like that is very important. So differentiation through name badges, and people being really clear about what their role is, and what we did in order to become registered, and what we continue to do in terms of CPD, adhering to a code, and that sort of thing.
Wonderful, thank you.
And Matt, I mean, this is a thorny old question that's been sent in, so I hope you're ready for this one. But do you think there's a need for a Royal College of Veterinary Nurses, or do you think the RCVS remains the best way forward?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. It makes me kind of sad, because we need to work together, and I'd like to see the Royal College actually govern and regulate more allied professionals, just not allied professions and paraprofessionals, because we should all be pulling in the same direction. We're all looking to improve animal health and welfare. That's why we do the job. So I think to try and go it alone, I think would be a big step backwards. And if we look at the Royal College of Nursing, the human one, that's not been without its problems. It has caused, it's had a lot of a rocky road, and hasn't necessarily perhaps achieved what they were hoping for. So I think we know that vets and nurses are synergistically linked. We work together, and our productivity of working together is better than us working alone. And I think we must never lose sight of that. So, and I'm very proud to be an associate member of the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons, and I think they do amazing work. And I would urge everybody every veterinary nurse to consider standing for Royal College, VN Council. I think VN Council is well respected, well listened to within there, and fundamental in pushing all these things forward. And I think, you know, the reason I ended up on VN Council was because somebody said to me, stop moaning and do something. And I think that is the key thing. I think we just need to, just step up and do your bit for our profession, and hopefully we'll leave it in a better place. But no, I don't think that would be necessarily be a step forward, I must say.
Just quickly, Andrea, I know it's, would you agree with Matt on that? I'm sure you would.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a veterinary team, and working together and being under the same roof in terms of those discussions, those conversations, having veterinary nurses on RCVS Council, having our own council within the college is so important, so that we're absolutely aligned with how we drive our professions forward for better animal welfare.
Fantastic. Sorry for stepping over your question there, Rachel. But
that's okay. We're staying with you, Andrea. So as we know, the previous attempt to get this to Parliament was unsuccessful. Do you have any thoughts on what changes should be made in this approach?
So I think the last time, as Charlotte said, 2015, the landscape now is really, really different. We know there's a workforce shortage for veterinary surgeons. We're post-Brexit, we're post-COVID, and also the way in which this part of what's going to be proposed within the legislation, it's not standing alone. It's part of a more complex sort of piece of work that's going to be put forward. So it's bigger than just the protection of the title and the government. Now the vets are a shortage industry, and I think I am really optimistic that as long as we get the parliamentary time, that it will be reviewed well by government.
Brilliant, thank you.
And this one is for you, Charlotte. Are there significant challenges in convincing the vet nurse profession of the importance of title protection? If so, how can they be overcome? And I'll add something to that question. Are there significant challenges in convincing the veterinary profession as well? The whole thing, is it just, what are the challenges, or we don't see that there are any? It's a wider issue. It's about the public, it's about government time.
I think, as most things in life, I think it's multifactorial. So I think there's, parts of everything in there as to, the things that we have to overcome. I mean, I guess, do we need to convince some of the vet nurse profession about title protection importance? Yeah, I think we probably do. We can probably know some nurses, who have a job as a vet nurse, and it's a 9 to 5. I mean, it's never a 9 to 5, but it is a job, and they have other things that they have, families or whatever else it may be outside of nursing. So yes, engagement from the profession is really vital. And like Matt said, I mean, I really like what Matt said about about the fact that he went on to RCVS Council. Exactly the same with me. I was told to stop complaining and get on, and do something about it. And so, if we can kind of inspire people, to get involved in whatever level, whether it become, whether you become the VN chair of the RCVS, or whether it's just the fact that we all get together and we push for protecting the title, I think that is really quite a valid point.
Excellent, great answer. Over to you, Rachel.
Thanks, James. So I'm coming over to you, Matt. Do you think the RCVS has been an effective regulator of veterinary nurses?
Can I just come back on something that Charlotte said as well?
I think, of course, yes.
Yeah, sorry. Charlotte's point is absolutely spot on, because I think as veterinary nurses we have sometimes a bit of an inclination to make it everybody else's problem, and actually there's stuff we can do every day. We all engage with the public every day, and whatever kind of sector we're working in, I think whatever your veterinary nursing qualification, whatever road it takes you down, you're always a veterinary nurse at your core. And if you end up in management or whatever you end up in, but introduce yourself as a veterinary nurse. I've got a brand new student at the moment, and I take her in when we do nurse consults and things, and I make sure I take a few moments just to explain to the client that she's a student nurse and she's learning and she's doing a degree and blah, blah, blah. And if any one of those people goes away and just thinks, oh, I never knew there was such a thing as veterinary nurses, and then looks into it, I think that's your job done for the day. So it is part of a much bigger picture, as Andrea touched on, but we can all do it. It's not something that we need to shy away from. We just need to talk about it and actually engage with the public ourselves. Just really take that second, make sure you're wearing your name badge, introduce yourself as a registered veterinary nurse, take the time to exchange conversations about what you do and how you've got there, and that stuff is key. So I think it's very easy to blame everybody else, but I think actually we can all do it. Everybody working in any sector as a veterinary nurse can have an impact on this. So sorry, go on, repeat your question.
No, that's
Rach.
fine. Yeah, so do you think the RCVS has been an effective regulator of veterinary nurses?
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing I would say that they're guilty of is not shouting about all the good work that they do. I've been on Royal College Council now for 6 years. I'll be going into my final bit soon, hopefully. And I was amazed about how much stuff they do and how well represented veterinary nurses are across the Royal College. So every committee, every kind of standing agenda has veterinary nursing representation. And I think it's really important to go back to something Andrea said, and just to highlight that we now have veterinary nurses as fully voting members on the Vets Council of the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons. And we are taken seriously. We are asked our opinions. We are involved in every aspect of that. There at no point are we excluded in any of these things. That's a massive commitment from the Royal College on our behalf of the veterinary nursing profession. So I would say yes. Are things perfect? Absolutely not. Things will always change. They will evolve. The profession I came into 30 odd years ago is nothing like it is now. It's a million times better. It's a million more times challenging with the ongoing bits of legislation that are coming in. But we have a huge opportunity within this legislative work in this reform that we're going to go forward with, and that will capture protection of the title as well as many other things. And I think Charlotte mentioned right at the beginning, one of the shocking ones, that actually it's not against the rules to have a layperson monitor your anaesthetic. I don't ever want to have that. I'd like to see that go. And I think that's one of the things that none of us think is a good thing anymore. And I think we just need to make sure that we're dealing with this as a whole piece. You know, this is a whole piece of work and a massive, massive opportunity. And I think we mustn't underestimate the power of this, and we just need to all pull together and maximize this opportunity.
Yep, brilliant. Thanks, Matt.
Here. This one's for you, Andrea. Is there a danger that title protection and stringent regulation could act as a barrier by potentially putting off new recruits from entering the profession?
Well, you know what I'm going to say to this.
I do.
Is that if they're put off by that, they're probably not the type of people we would want in our profession. But I think there is, because we are an evolving profession, and we are actually quite a young profession. I've been saying that for probably 20 years now, but we are quite young. And so when we introduced the code, for example, there was a real fear amongst the nursing population at the time that they would be made scapegoats in practice. There was a nervousness around preliminary investigation committee, disciplinary committee. And so we did a series of roadshows explaining how they were becoming more accountable, how they were separate committees looking at if a nurse was complained about and a vet was complained about, and it was that reassurance. So people don't like change, so there will be some nerves. As Charlotte said, there may be people in our profession that might feel, oh gosh, that's another step. But actually, in terms of people looking from the outside in, you would expect this profession to be regulated and have a protection of role. That is what you would expect. And when we've consulted and when we've had human physios in conversations with us through Royal College, and we've had lay members, people are genuinely shocked that actually our role is not already protected. So I don't think it will discourage. And as I say, if it does put people off, then they're not ready to join a regulated profession.
Great answer.
Well said. This next question is for you, Charlotte. Aside from legal protection, What other benefits would come from making the title of veterinary nurse legally protected? For example, better career development, maybe more money?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, I agree with you that, I think things like career progression, retention, because if we're keeping people in the profession longer, then, I think it is possible, therefore, then, that we can go on and do different things, whether or not, well, again, sort of with the flexibility working approach and trying to hold on to nurses is something we really need to do. And I really like the idea of keeping older nurses or more experienced nurses to help the newer people who are coming through, the newer nurses who are coming through. And so, that kind of career enhancement, that kind of mentoring role that you can have in practice with the flexibility that perhaps, that maybe, changing the profession we could do. And of course, yeah, I mean, pay is never off the table, is it? It's something, that some of the corporates have been looking at and addressing, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So yeah, I would say pretty much. I mean, I love my job, and like Matt was saying about, doing consults and having a student, and and I do the same thing. And if I can make somebody go away and smile and happy, and if they've got a little kid and we're having a chat saying, you're so good, you can be a vet nurse when you grow up, I mean, that kind of thing, that to me fills my heart, particularly if it's a cat, obviously, but it just does. So yeah, there's more than just that legal recognition. I'm quite sure of it.
Wonderful, thank you, Charlotte.
This one's for you, Matt. What can be achieved to enhance the role of RVNs without title protection? I know I seem to recall some of the LWP proposals from, there's a lot there that can be done without necessarily tackling the monumental task of getting the title protected, which obviously,
yeah, I think there's lots of things, there's lots of facets in it. We need to think big, and we need to push for a new Veterinary Surgeons Act. We're looking at we're working with a document that's from 1966, and it doesn't reflect what we're doing now. So that's the key thing. And I think that within that, what we can do on the run up to this, and I do believe it will happen. It won't happen overnight, as Charlotte said. These things will take time, but it will happen. I think what we can do in the meantime is to just make sure our profession is as squeaky clean, and we're doing all the things that we should do, so that when the time comes and it gets looked at by Parliament and DEFRA and all of those things, they can look at everything that we've done and be very proud of what we've done and where we've achieved and how we've looked out for ourselves. We've made our profession work well. And I think being accountable for our actions is super important. And I think that is reflected. And I would say that if anybody looked at those things that go to disciplinary from nurses, I see all of them, and there are none there that you think that shouldn't be there. They're always things that you think that doesn't represent my profession well. And that is a good document to look at as regards when we're looking to moving things forward. So I think look at yourself and see what you can do. And I think the main thing is to be a mentor and a role model for your profession. Be a clinical coach, be out, be loud, be proud, be outspoken. Don't try and be, this whole thing about trying to be mini vets. We don't want to be mini vets. We want to be massive veterinary nurses, and that is key to all of this. Yeah, it's just basically get amongst it and do your job well and represent, and make sure you talk about it. So the amount of people in your friends group as veterinary nurses that won't actually know what you do is amazing. They have no idea what you do. So talk to them, show them pictures of you scanning sea turtles in Greece with your mates. Just use that as a way of just demonstrating where that veterinary nursing profession can lead you, because it can lead you anywhere. It's like a passport. Once you've got it, you can use it. So
great answer, and one of the best ever all-time quotes on Happy Hour. We don't want to be little vets, we want to be massive vet nurses. Yeah.
I've always been a massive vet nurse, so it's always been fun for me. So
yeah. Rachel, we're running out of time, so we'll rattle through these. But
okay. So right, Andrea, this one's for you. Could you give us some examples very quickly of how title protection could help vet nurses develop their careers?
Well, I think Matt's probably answered quite a lot of that already, to be honest. But I think the title's really important, protection of role is really important, and then the sort of the Veterinary Surgeons Act, as we said, is 1966. It's the same age as me. I say that every year, and I'm getting older and older, and so we need to look at Schedule 3, and we need to look at what is within the capability of veterinary nurses. I think that actually we have amazing careers already, but what this might do, and we need to know what the whole thing looks like, this might enable us to move forward potentially with advanced practitioner status, and therefore sort of increase the clinical scope of veterinary nursing. So I think that's my optimism for this.
Brilliant.
Charlotte, what are the next steps of the BVNA and its Protect the Title campaign? Wade through a bunch of data, I suspect, but
yeah, so wade through a lot of data, and then basically then we really do have the representative voice of the veterinary profession, and then absolutely we will then be sharing all of that onto social media through the BVNA. I imagine as well that Matt and the RCVS will be very happy to help us with that as well, to share the thoughts and feelings that we've got from this. And then also, you know, through journals, through articles, anywhere where anybody will look is sharing this, so we can keep up the momentum. So then we can keep lobbying Parliament for when our time, like Matt said, it was like, so we're ready when the time comes, so we're ready. So yeah, I that's where I see it going.
Okay, and this one's for you, Matt. It's a big task, but are you confident that one day the title of veterinary nurse will be legally protected? And what would that mean for you personally?
I'm 100% confident it'll happen. So 100%. It might be on the might be the kind of sign for me to retire when it does, but I think it will definitely happen. What we need to do, as Charlotte said, is just keep talking about it, keep adding it in, making sure that it's in that whole kind of group of things that we're going to DEFRA to ask for. I think that's super important. And I think the more we just keep it on the agenda, let's not stop talking about it. And I think take time to engage your regulator, look at the rest of the stuff that's going through and the stuff that's being spoken about, and yeah, just promote it in every opportunity that you can. Talk about it and get people talking, and not just with veterinary nurses. Talk to everybody. You just never know who you're going to speak to and what impact they could have on it. So just keep it moving.
you might find yourself sat next to Rishi Sunak on a bus or something, mightn't you? So yeah, that wouldn't be a bad person to mention it to.
Can I just come back there, just to say with Matt that also, just to agree with him, that also with BVNA, that this will now become a standing item on our council and our main council minutes, so anybody can access our council minutes, and it, like I say, it's important, so it will never be off the BVNA agenda now.
Glad to hear it. And just finally to you all, I'll start with you, Matt, then Charlotte, then I'll finish with Andrea, but in less than 30 seconds, tell us why title of protection is so important.
Gosh, I think we've covered most of it, but I think
but give me a good soundbite, mate.
Oh God, no, yeah.
No pressure.
I think it's just pride. I think it's pride in the profession. It will give us more pride in what we do. I'm incredibly proud to be a veterinary nurse. I'm incredibly proud of the things I've done being a veterinary nurse. And I think it will just make us more than the incoming generation will be able to be even more proud of the veterinary nursing profession.
Great answer. And Charlotte?
I mean, it's hard to disagree with what Matt said, really, but I suppose for your soundbite, James, I mean, you know, it's hard really to see why we wouldn't want to move that extra step forward to get that recognition, to get the recognition and the value for what we are actually doing as vet nurses every day, in whatever line that is in our careers.
And finally, Andrea.
So I think, you know, the patient is at the heart of everything that we do as veterinary nurses, and I think it's really, really important for safeguarding their health and welfare. I think that's my point as well, is that it's about our patients and the confidence that our clients have in what veterinary nurses are and what they can do.
Fantastic. Well, that's that. And I've got to say, and I'm sure you'll agree, Rach, that's one of the best panel chats we've ever had. That was really
amazing.
fantastic. And judging by the amount of madness going on the chat box.
The chat box is whirring.
So I think everyone else agrees with you. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and opinions on that. We're grateful, and as are our audience. But now we will defer to the king of quizmasters himself, Mr. Jack Pye. How are you this evening, Jack?
I'm good, thank you. Tired after teaching all day, but I'm fine.
Yeah, well, I shall be quiet, which is something that doesn't come naturally to me, and allow you to start the quiz. But remember, there's 50 quid up for grabs. Answers. Did we say 8:30? I don't really see how that's possible, as we're already past 8:30. But email your answers in.
That's a very good point.
Well, yeah.
Should we say 9:30?
Yeah, let's say 9:30, because
We'll give you
otherwise
till 9:30.
people will be struggling to answer and send that in before we've even finished the quiz, or even started, as it turns out. So over to you, Jack. But there is 50 quid up for grabs.
I'm worried it's too easy now.
They're never easy.
I don't know. We'll see. Bear with once it decides to work. Okay. Can you see that and hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I'm just going to move you all out of the way so I can actually.
And can I just say something? The panelists, you can, you're not paid. So if you want to earn yourself an extra 50 quid, you can get involved and see if you're lucky. So
you can have the answers for 40 quid of the prize money.
Oh, the whiff of corruption about the happy hour quiz. We don't need that, Jack.
So the first one, I do expect Charlotte Pace to get right, and I will be checking her answers just to make sure that she has got this one correct. So question 1 is, how many years will BVNA Congress have been running this October? So what anniversary are they celebrating in October at their Congress? So how many years will BVNA Congress have been running this October? It sounds like a party you don't want to miss as well. Question 2, what animal was rescued off a concrete ledge on the M5 yesterday? Was it a fox, a badger, a cat, a dog, or an alpaca?
It can't have been an alpaca. They're huge. But that's
Why would it
probably
be?
the right. That's probably the right answer.
Why would it be on the screen? Just shows you what goes around in my brain.
Wow, it must have been a big ledge.
So what animal was rescued off a concrete ledge on the M5 yesterday? Was it a fox, a badger, a cat, a dog, or an alpaca? Question 3 is, which pet portrait artist is giving the opening keynote speech at Vetstagram in March? So which pet portrait artist is giving the opening keynote speech at Vetstagram? I'm sure many of you have seen some work out there. That's why I've not given you any options to pick from.
Gerard Dogs, actually.
Can see who's paying attention now, because Matt kind of touched on this in the discussion. So as at today on the register, how many RVNs or REVNs are on the RCVS register? Is it A, 19,567, B, 21,001, C, 22,089, or D, 23,047? 19,567, 21,001, 22,089, or 23,047. Question 5, I'll give you a little bit of time for this one. Put these events in chronological order from early in the year to late in the year, of these events that are fairly well known. And if you were paying attention to the Vetstagram one on the previous page, you'll see the date for that. I'll give you a minute to do those.
I've actually got a couple of these right tonight, Jack.
Have you?
Yeah.
This is why I was worried it was too easy.
No, it's not easy, but we do Congress Times is for a lot of these, so we're well aware when they
Not to
all are.
mention you're a very, very intelligent man as well, obviously.
Goes without saying, Jack, but thank you very much. Checks in the post.
You've got 10 more seconds for those. Right, moving on. Question 6, 7, and 8. These are all anagrams. I'm not going to give you any clues of what they are potentially about. But I think once you get one, you'll get the other ones. So I'll give you a minute or so to look through these. I quite like number 7 as well. I think that's quite a catchy little phrase. I'm really intrigued as to whether people are going to get these as well.
I've ever got an anagram in my life. So.
No, I feel like I should be able to do these, and I'm struggling.
Is everyone struggling on them?
Don't apologise.
No, but Jack, don't apologise.
You know, for setting a tough quiz. And then we're a pretty low bar, me and Rachel.
I don't think I'm a great reflection on who
we're only journalists struggling with the anagram.
Right, moving on to question 9. On a sea turtle, where is the pineal gland located? Is it A, next to the kidneys, B, in the pancreas, C, in the head, or D, in the liver? Featuring one of the sea turtles from last week on my little excursion with Matt.
I'm assuming you're not looking for the pineal gland there, so there are no clues.
Unfortunately not, no. So is it A, next to the kidneys, B, in the pancreas, C, in the head, or D, in the liver? Moving on. Question 10. What year was the term veterinary nurse first used? Very appropriate for tonight's panel. So what year was the term veterinary nurse first used? Question 11. So what do you call a cat with opposable thumbs? I like seeing these in practice. I've just seen Kim put that she's only got one right at the moment, she thinks. I hope it's the first question. So question 12, 13, 14 is dog breeds by emoji. So I'll give you a minute or so to figure these out. I think they're quite easy, to be fair. So you should now get some correct answers, people.
Okay, right.
I got one. I'm writing it down.
I can do these ones.
Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, can't get the first one though, without coming up with something really.
If anyone's got the anagrams, can they just put in the chat so I know that somebody's been able to get them? And what have they put? None of the anagrams. No, nobody's got the anagrams. Question 15 is, how old is the oldest living cat to date? And there's a bonus point if you know the name of the cat as well. So is it A, 23 years, 7 months, B, 24 years, C, 27 years, or D, 29 years?
I don't think anyone's getting the anagrams, Jack, by the look of the chat.
Oh, I think So Ebony's private messaged me, and I think she's got them.
Well, of course she has. She can't claim the prize though. She's not allowed.
It's the only one I got. Of the whole of them. It's the only one.
Well, we'll give you a bonus prize then. We'll send you a VNT t-shirt or something.
Well, I need a hat, don't I? I'm repping
You
the wrong
do, yeah,
company
we
right
need
now. I
hats.
need another hat. Thanks.
We'll get you a hat
Happy hour hats.
And a
And,
mug.
yeah. We've got to get some happy hour
Yes,
merch. Sorry,
we
Jack.
do.
No, you're fine. So tiebreaker question. This is if anyone's obviously on the same points at the end of it. How many dogs were on the Titanic?
How would you even know that?
Oh,
Google.
Maybe it's a trick question.
Could be. Don't ask me how many survived, because that's not the nicest. This is happy hour, not.
No,
sad.
let's not go there. Let's not dwell on that. But good question.
So how many dogs were on the Titanic? And I'll go back to the anagrams very quickly for people if they want to have a little look. Just to give them another little chance.
No, none
They've
of the
clue.
words.
A clue is there's 3 of them, so that should give you quite a clue.
I just feel even more thick than I normally do now.
Number 8 is the easiest one to work out. Number 8 is the
Are they
easiest
3? So
one
is
to
number
work
8 3 words?
No, it's
No, that's
2.
where you've lost me. That's what I mean. That's where that's how low level I'm at.
All of them are 2 words. Andrea's looking very smug. I feel like she's got them.
Claire Hobson's got them. Well
Oh,
done,
there
Claire.
we go. There we go. Some
See,
people have got them.
Jack's feeling better. He didn't want a nasty
Oh.
reputation.
Fee's got them. Well done, Fiona.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. People are getting them.
There we go.
Well, I can just say Fiona Stevens is not eligible to win the quiz
Well,
tonight.
that's very, yeah, sorry, Fee.
But
But well done anyway.
yeah, well done
Perfect.
anyway. Well done anyway.
Right. That's it. So yeah, get them sent in.
Yep. Get them sent in by 9:30. Thanks ever so much, Jack. That was awesome.
No problem.
As per usual. I think it's over to you now, Rachel, to announce.
It's the top tip winners. Let's just give those a moment. Ever so sorry.
Oh, is it me announcing the top tip winners?
Yes.
Isn't it? Sorry.
No,
I
it's
fell
all
off.
right. I was just going to get them.
My mind was wandering. Okay, so I'm okay to reveal them now, which
Yes,
I'm
you
about to
are.
do. And our first winner is Lizzie Bradley Covey. Congratulations, Lizzie. Her top tip is care for and support each other. Working as a team and being able to rely on others is how to make this job better. I think we'd all agree with you on that, Lizzie. And our second winner is Kelly Hutson. Apologies if I've not pronounced that correctly. Her top tip is find your role in practice: X-ray, ultrasound, bloods, laser, hydrophysio, counsel, liaison, surgery, triage, or anaesthetic. We love that one. So congratulations to Kelly and Lizzie. Our team will be making sure your prizes get to you in the next few days.
Yeah, and I believe we're on to our Pay It Forward winner now. It's always an absolute joy to read through these. You all have, I think I say it every time, you all have such wonderful things to say about each other. So it's lovely to read and always so hard to pick a winner. But tonight, our winner is Sasha Hunter from the RVC Queen Mother Hospital for Animals. She was nominated by Flora Fox, who said she's always looking out for others on the team, always positive, a ray of sunshine. So well done, Sasha, and thanks for nominating Flora. We'll be putting together a feel good hamper for you, Sasha, and that will be with you soon.
Excellent. We've not announced the challenge winner though,
No,
have we?
do you know,
Has
no.
there been a technical glitch, Rachel? Has the
No,
email
here they
fallen
are.
over
We're
again?
here. No, we're all good. Look, they're there. So again, we had so many, lots of beloved pets in there. It's just wonderful. But our winner is purely because it was just, it made me laugh, and I appreciate a good snack. So congratulations, Kim.
What are they? I've never seen.
Treeslets.
They look nice though.
They are good.
Sort of
They are good.
savoury, cheesy snack. You can't go wrong.
Got to look after the snacks.
You can buy another probably 15 tubs with your prize. So well done, Kim. And that really is it. It's down for me to say thank you so much to Andrea, Matt and Charlotte. I mean, I think we'd all agree you've been amazing. Thank you to Jack. You're always amazing too. The quiz is brilliant. Ebony and Remy for their superb technical support and so much else. Medivet for sponsoring us. And most of all, you guys, the delegates, and we've never done this before, but it's quite self-explanatory. We've just got a poll pop up as to how likely you would be to recommend happy hour to your colleagues and friends, because obviously we'd like as many people as they could to get involved in this poll, because we will be back. We're not sure quite when, but we will be, because it's a wonderful community, I think, that's come together over the last 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
First one we did with Remy, Andrea, and Jack was November 2020.
It's 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Things were very different then, but I think that community's really come together. And as I say, we will be back. So watch this space.